So, with that being said, let's go back to Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47. I'm just going to read those verses again, just for the sake of teaching purposes. For those of you guys who weren't here last week, or for those who may have missed portions of last week due to text messages, due to falling asleep, or whatever else was a distraction, or you just may have missed it, you just may not have caught something. You can always go online. You can go to our YouTube channel at FOCUSODU. You can also check on our website. We'll have our videos up there as well. Check out the videos, and you'll be able to kind of make sure that you'll be able to catch up and catch things that you maybe have missed as well. This teaching will be up here the next few days as well, so that way you'll be able to kind of forge both teachings together. So we'll be picking up tonight off of what we left off of, from last week. So Acts chapter 2, beginning at verse 42, and we're going to end at verse 47. If you're there, say word. Word. If you're not, say hold up. All right, we're holding for like 2 seconds. 2, 1. Here we go. No, I'm just playing. Acts chapter 2, beginning at verse 42, ending at verse 47. This is what it says. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. That's the verse that we're going to teach from for the most part tonight. The latter part of verse 47 one more time says, and the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Characteristics of true community. Just to recap, last week we started talking about what true community looks like. Going back to week 1, we talked about the benefits of being connected to community. Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 through 25. We talked about that being connected to community, it refines you. We talked about being connected to community, it's sharpening you, it's encouraging you. There's no greater entity on this planet that God has set up for people outside of the church, outside of biblical community. You're here right now. You're part of Focus. You're here at TNT. You're connected to other believers on campus. That is biblical community. That is true community. There is no greater place. There is no greater body of people to be connected to other than the church itself. So last week we kind of started talking about what true biblical community looks like. We talked about verse 42 and verse 43 where it said they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching. Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles. We talked about first that true community is established in biblical truth. It is established in biblical truth. One more time. It is established in biblical truth. What is biblical truth? While I'm here for the next few weeks after tonight, we will be teaching on what grace really is. What is grace all about? What is the grace of God? What does it mean? What does it mean to be saved? What does it mean when I'm saved by grace? What is the difference between being saved by grace, saved by works? After I'm saved by grace, does that mean I continue to try to save myself by good deeds that I do? How do I do this? How do I love? How do I do the Christian thing? How do I, some of you guys may have heard, do church? How do I do these particular things? And let me just put it plain and simple as we're talking about being established in truth. Being a Christian is not something that you do. Being a Christian is something that you are. If you don't get anything else out of the night, rest in that truth. Being a Christian is not something that you do. You can do Christian things all day long. That does not make you a Christian. No different than you saying honk, honk, beep, beep, makes you a car. It does not. As a matter of fact, if I was to come to you right now and say, I'm a car, look what I can do. Honk, honk, beep, beep. You will look at me as if I'm crazy, as if I have lost it. Because clearly I can see that, you can see that I'm not a car. Just because I can do car things, just because I can make car noises, does not mean I'm a car. Y'all heard the saying, if you quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. No! Not at all. I see the principle and the point people are trying to make. They have devices now that sound just like a duck. That does not make you a duck. Not one bit. What makes you a duck is your nature. No different than what makes a dog is its nature, is its makeup. What makes a Christian is its makeup, is its nature. What's the nature of a Christian? Glad you asked. The nature of a Christian is being conformed to the likeness and image of Jesus Christ. How does that happen? It happens by me accepting the fact that I'm a sinner, that I need a Savior. His name is Jesus Christ, that He came, that He died for every sin that I will ever make, past, present, future. Why did He do that? Because you could not do it yourself. He did that because you and I could not produce good things on our own. You can try. Only thing you and I can do is garbage. That's it. The Bible says that our righteousness is like filthy rags. What do you do with dirty rags? You get rid of them. I've never seen anybody wash up with a dirty rag. That's just gross. Why would you do that? You wouldn't do that, would you? Some of y'all silent. I hope not. That was a trick question. So if you can't clean yourself with a dirty rag, how are you going to try to clean yourself with dirty motives and dirty actions? You can't do it, can you? No. I love last week. I love what last week did. Because I think somewhere along the teaching, I asked the question, like, how many of us actually thought that you had to do certain things to either get saved or to stay saved? A good portion of our hands went up. You know what that's a sign of? That is a sign of how long the enemy has been tricking the church and tricking people in the church into thinking that either I was saved by what I did, or that not only was I maybe not saved by what I did, but I had to keep myself saved by what I did. Like, some people actually believe that if I do certain things, I can lose my salvation. Ain't that crazy? Some of us like, no, it's not because I believe that. All right, let's stay there. Let me ask you a question. What did you do to become a sinner? What'd you do? Confused faces. Nothing. You were born that way. The Bible says you were born into sin, shaped in iniquity. So if there was nothing that you did to become a sinner, then that also means that there was nothing that you could do to not be a sinner any longer. Right? Ain't that just simple common sense math? Whatever. Deductive reasoning? You need scripture. Okay. Ephesians 2:8. You've been saved by grace, not by works so no man can boast, but you've been saved by grace through faith. He's the one who does the saving. So, okay, now it makes sense. I wasn't born a sinner because of anything I did. And I also wasn't born again because of anything that I did. Oh, it makes so much sense. The Bible says in Romans, Adam sinned. Everybody who comes from it is a sinner by birth. Jesus lived the perfect life. He is the last Adam, not the second Adam, because the second Adam would imply that there's a third Adam. There is no third Adam. He is the last Adam. He did what Adam was supposed to do, be in perfect obedience to the Father. So now, through him, I now become righteous. That's truth. That's what grace really is all about. So, let me put it plain. Is there anything that I can do to lose my salvation? No, because there was nothing you did to earn your salvation. And if you could do something to undo salvation, then that means it wasn't really salvation in the first place. All you did was have a feel-good emotion. Oh, I cried in service, that means I'm saved. No, it doesn't. Oh, I memorized a few Bible scriptures. Oh, I must love God. I must know God. No, it don't. The enemy knows scripture probably better than you. He was the one who said, did God really say? Did he really say? He was the one who tried to trick Jesus with the word. Ain't that crazy? It's wild. So if that was the case, if I didn't do anything to save myself, then how can I do something to unsave myself? But doesn't Scripture say that the immoral person will not inherit the kingdom of God? Yes, that's exactly what it says. But you know what that's speaking in context of? Because if I'm an immoral person, then that means I probably don't know the Lord. Because there's no way in the world I can stay immoral and know the Lord at the same time. Because if I'm in the Lord, and if I happen to have a sexual activity, because I have the Spirit of the Lord living on the inside of me, He convicts me and pulls me out. It's like, yo, you're not supposed to be here. I can't stay there. Does this make sense? That's truth. And the reason why for some of us this is new is because for so long you have been taught and you were preached to that you had to do things to earn God's salvation. The reason why this is like probably for some of us confusing, but at the same time like confusing, because it's like, so I don't have to do anything? Like there's nothing I have to do at all? I was teaching about like last week and I was sharing with some people like the reason why living and being a Christian for you is so hard is because you do it. I'll talk to plenty of people plenty of times. By show of hands, how many of you guys actually think being a Christian is hard? Be real. Be honest. Awesome. I thank you guys for your honesty. Put your hands down. I'm going to blaze you right now. I just wanted to wake you up. That's all I wanted to do. I'm not going to blaze you. I love you guys. Man, you guys are awesome. No. I don't even know what I was saying right there. But somebody help me out. I just lost my train of thought. Being a Christian is hard to do. Right. Awesome. So I was talking to some people last week. I was like, man, being a Christian is not hard to do. And even as a young person, I kind of believe the same thing that it was. Why? Because you look at all this stuff that you got to do. Thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. It's like a teacher. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't bust at her. Why are you looking at the butt? Why are you looking at the chest? Why are you looking at her? Why are you looking at him? You can't do that. You do that, you're going to burn in hell. How many of you guys heard that growing up? How many of you guys have heard that on campus? No, you can't do that. You can't be saved. You're not going to heaven. I don't know. I was talking with somebody, and we were joking. I was like, yo, can you name the 10 Commandments? No, you can't. Some of y'all are real good. I can name them, but you can't keep them. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Paul talks about it. Go read Romans. I love it. Paul talks about it. The law, the 10 Commandments, that was spiritual. It was given to expose sin, not to conquer it. The reason why God gave the 10 Commandments was to highlight the sin of the people. That's it. Law comes, exposes sin. So he says, thou shalt not lie. Even though God knows you're going to lie, he just tells you this is true. And the reason why I have to give you the truth is because if I don't give you the truth, I can't hold you accountable. And if I can't hold you accountable, then you'll never know right from wrong. Hence the reason why he tells Adam and Eve, if you eat from this tree, what you going to do? You're going to die. If you want to be technical about law, that was the first law that was actually given before the 10 Commandments ever came. Because the law is rested and trusted in obedience. That's what it's all about. But God knows us. He knows flesh. He knows sinful nature. That because of your sinful nature, what you and I are actually trying to do, okay, these are the 10 rules I got to follow, so I'm going to do my best to follow them. You suck. You cannot. You can't. And the minute you think you're good, like some of us in here, like we got a checklist, like, okay, don't lie. We're not going to steal today. We're not going to be proud today. We're not going to lie. We're not going to lust. Okay. And what happens, and here's what's so crazy. Sometimes God will allow this to happen. He will allow you to get through all of these. Man, I did good today. Man, I'll do it again tomorrow. Now you're like, no. I'm so hard to do. That's the point. You can't do it. But for so long, you've heard that you're supposed to. That's an unfair fight because you can't. God knows it. That's why Jesus comes, full of grace and truth. Truth saying, this is not what you're supposed to do. Grace saying, but because you can't do it, I'm going to come and do it for you. That's grace. Hence the reason why we've been saved by grace. Hence the reason why the songwriter would say, or the song that we've always known for so long that you may have heard, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved the wretch like me. You've heard that song probably so much you don't even understand the power of it. You don't understand the power of it. Like, you are a wretch. You do realize that. He saved a worm such as I. That's what the next verse talks about. You know what a worm does? You know what a worm lives? In dirt. Wow. And I know for some of us this is hard right now because it's like, no, I'm not a dirty person. I'm not a filthy person. Show me a person who says that they're not dirty, not filthy. I'll show you a self-righteous person all day long because what they're going to try to do is prove to you that they're not dirty. The problem is the motivation for even proving to you that they're not dirty is dirty. Guilty as charged already. You ain't even got to what you're going to do yet. But the truth is, I need the Lord. I need His grace. And when I recognize everything that He's done, this takes the pressure off of me to try to perform and do something that I can't even do myself. So now what He does, let's go back to the song that we sang in praise and worship. Lead me to the cross. I lay me down. You know what that's talking about? The cross is laid down and I'm laying on it. What does that mean? Something's dying. You don't just carry a cross just for the sake of it. Like some of us in here, you carry a cross around your neck. Do you really understand what you're saying? Like, I know that jank is glittering and it's shining and you bedazzle it and all this type of stuff. But do you really understand that? What this is saying is that it's the equivalent of me carrying my cross and me dying every day. That's why Jesus said, take up your cross daily. Not Monday, not Tuesday at TNT. It's easy to take up your cross when everybody else is doing it. Take up the cross daily. That's the sacrifice. Where I lay me down. Where I humble myself, present my body, as Paul says in Romans 12, as a living sacrifice. This is your spiritual act of worship. So in other words, the only thing that you and I are supposed to do is just lay our life down. That's it. Let God do the work. But for so long, what you've heard is that I had to do this. This is why the early church blew up and exploded. Like, the journey that God is really kind of having me on these past 6 months and helped me understand is the reason why the church has exploded back in Acts was because they preached a simple message of grace and truth. Truth was, this is what God expects. All the way. But you can't do it. And you know you can't. You know you can't do it. Your pride won't let you say that, but you know you cannot do it. Then they preach grace and truth, because to preach just truth alone with no grace, all you have is philosophy, and all you have, for lack of better words, is Judaism. That's why the Jews couldn't really receive the message. That's why they put Jesus on the cross. Because we thought it was what we did. We had to do all this stuff. It's like, nah, man. The truth is not wrong with the truth. The truth is the truth. The truth is, yeah, that's real. But you need grace. So why do you think at the same time, like as God gave the 10 Commandments, he also gave the decree to Moses, have high priests make sacrifices for the people. That was the grace that covered the people when truth was not fulfilled. That's grace and truth. And now we see that in perfect display when Jesus comes. He says, obey my command. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. He comes with all this stuff. But then he also says, but you can't do it on your own. That's why I came. The world did not know him, even though he created the world. It's kind of crazy. He came to his own, but his own knew him not. He came full of grace and truth. The believers, the early church, they understood this. People like Paul, the guy who wrote a good portion of the New Testament, he understood this. Because he was the perfect poster child example of a dude who tried to save himself on his own, or to be pure on his own, or to love on his own, or to be holy on his own. And what he quickly found out, he couldn't do it. He could not do it. But now that he has this experience on the Damascus Road, we talked about that in the beginning of the semester, Acts chapter 9, he's knocked off his horse. Knocked off his horse. And has this revelation type experience with Jesus on the road. And he has a revelation, understands that there is nothing that I could ever, and so on do to experience the love of Christ on my own. No. And I don't know about you. That is the most freeing truth that you can ever hear. I was talking to somebody today, I was talking to a good friend of mine, we were talking at church, and I was telling them something that I recently heard, or better yet, recently something that I kind of came across. Christianity, out of every religion, is the only religion where you don't have to do something to get close to a God. Ain't that something? Every other religion, you got to do this. Right? I mean, come on, let's be real. You know people. You got to do something. I think it was like my junior year here. I had a roommate, he was a Muslim. Man, cool. But he was a Muslim. So, at high noon, we stayed in Powhatan. Mind you, there's not a whole lot of space in Powhatan. Stayed in Powhatan. At high noon, he would go into the community room, which the kitchen is right here, and you got the room right here. There's like no space. He would go in the community room. He would roll out his blanket, open up the shades, the blinds, get on his knees, bow down, face him back. Why you gotta do this? Because this makes me right a lot. Wow. You see the lie? It's no coincidence that the Christian faith is the only faith and the only religion on this planet. You don't have to do something to be made right with a holy and pure God. You think that's by coincidence? No, there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is ordained by God. He knows what he's doing. Like, think about it. Like if you had a decision to make, okay, if you had all the world religions up, like maybe one day we should just teach and just have world religion class in TNT, I don't know. But what if we had like Judaism right here, Buddhism right here, Hinduism right here, Islam right here, Christian right here? You know what that joint would look like? This religion, you got to do all this. This religion, you got to do all this. This religion, you got to do all this. Christian faith, one thing, believe. Which one you think is more attractive? It's not a trick question. Oh, wow. The reason why you're having a hard problem with this is because for so long, you and I have been taught that I got to do things to achieve something. That this is less meaningful because it's only one thing I got to do to earn it compared to these few things, which means I got to do a whole lot to earn it. So that when I earn it, it means more. Let me have you understand something. You can do all that stuff, you still not need it. Not at all. It's not a trick. That's the good news, man. But what the enemy does is for so long pump lies into us thinking like, yo, no man, you got to do this to get right with God. No, you got to do this to get right with God. No, man, you got to love more. No, you got to be kind more. No, you got to be more patient. I got to do this. I got to do that. That's a lot of doing, man. I'm tired. I don't know about y'all, man. I mean, if I'm just doing it, like just loving people, being kind, that shit gets tiring when I'm doing it on my own. Like for real, like sometimes your roommates get on your nerves. And if you're doing it on your own strength, you don't get tired. Or the flip side happens. You go through all these lists of items that you're doing, and then you quickly realize, bomb, because you couldn't do it. Now you feel miserable. You feel terrible. Now you feel unlovable. Now you feel like you're the scum of the earth. And God was like, yo, I didn't call you and love you because of who you are, because of what you did. No, I love you because of who I am. I called you because of who I am, not because of you. That's the most freeing truth you could ever hear in your life. That's what Paul can say in Romans 1:16. That's where 1:16 got that stuff from. Like, they didn't make it up on their own. Like, it came from Romans chapter 1, verse 16. That I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because it is the power unto salvation to those who believe, first for the Jews and for the Gentile. I just came across this revelation today. God just kind of revealed this to me earlier. So y'all getting like brand new stuff. It's not even on the notes. Y'all know the scripture where Paul talks about, I preach Christ crucified. 1 Corinthians. I preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews. You know why he says that? Because for so long, the Jews thought that they had to do something. So, hence the reason why the Jews were trying to put Jesus out of the temple. Hence the reason why the Jews put Jesus on the cross. Hence the reason why the Jews were trying to kill Paul, why they stoned Stephen. This weren't Gentile cats that did this. These were people who were supposed to know the Lord. It's a stumbling block. And so the question that you and I have to ask today is Christ a stumbling block or is he a bridge? Is he a stumbling block to me like, where it's like, no, you get in my way, dude. Nah, man, I gotta do me. It's like, okay, tell me how that goes. Or is he the bridge? As the old church would say, over troubled water. Is he the way for you? Because if he's not the way, then you'll take any other way that you see. Or any other way that looks good to you. This is the truth. That's gospel. In plain language. That's why I love being a Christian. Going back to the question earlier, is being a Christian hard? That's why being a Christian is not hard at all. Because when you try to do it in your own strength, oh yes, you're going to fall. Oh yes, you're going to bump your head. Yes, you're going to cuss them out. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to lie. Because you trusted in your own strength. And it's so easy to do that because for so long you and I have just been programmed. And by nature, it is so easy for us to just want to control life. Jesus says, yo, take your hands off. Let me do it. Let me do the work. Yeah. For so long, you thought because like somebody was doing work for you for your class, because you were told, that's wrong. Don't have them doing your work. That's your work. You do it. Like, I mean, okay. But then, like, for some reason, that translated into my faith. No, God ain't gonna do that for you. Matter of fact, I heard a lie. A lie. I was about to say I heard something, but it's a lie. I heard a lie not too long ago on a gospel statement. This is what it said. God only helps those who help themselves. How many of y'all heard that? Good portion. I'm not going to ask how many of y'all believed it. That just, no. I don't want to do that. God only helps those who help themselves. Wow. That's a lie, man. I can't help myself. I can't. I don't even know where to start. Not at all. And if God only helps those who help themselves, okay, so what am I supposed to do then? Oh, but there we go. Because now it comes back to what I'm supposed to do. So now already, we already disqualified everything that Christ has done. Do you see the difference? I don't know about y'all, but this drink is like awesome. This is like why he says, take joy. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Why? Because you understand that he's the one who does the work, man. You understand that he's the one who produces the fruit. I now understand fully why people would go after Jesus would tell people, don't go tell nobody. I now understand why these guys would be like, I don't care what you say, I'm telling everybody. Because when you have just been freed by grace, you will tell everybody about it. I like talking about speeding tickets because I got 2, and I feel like I only deserve 1. But that's one of the things. But the one that I deserved, but got off for, I told everybody about it. Like, yo, God, man, yo, I'm trying not to speed again, but you know what? I'm not even worried about that. Because I just realized I didn't deserve that joint. Glad people talk about that joint. Yeah, I sped, but I got off because of grace. You can too. Don't speed. But if you do, you can get off by grace. I will gladly tell that joint. That's why Paul said, I boast in my own sufferings. Yeah, I lied. But that didn't disqualify me. What qualified me was his grace and his love. Yeah, you may have had sex outside of wedlock. Boast in it. Because you know God's made you a new creature. Some of y'all are like, no, I'm not ready for that. I can't go tell nobody that because that's going to look at me different. Also now, you're doing stuff that people don't like you. That's the issue. So now you become the stumbling block to somebody else coming to know Christ. Wow, that's crazy. It's selfish at the same daggone time. Wow. Terrible, man. It's a tricky thing, man. How the enemy just comes in our life and twist up theology and twist up doctrine. You do realize that he uses the word of God to twist up lies and to get people to go away from God. He started in Genesis. He's continuing to do that now. It's no different. This is why you have so many freaking denominations. Because you have one group who says, if you don't speak in tongues, you're not saved. Once again, it's not based upon what you can do. So if I got to speak in tongues to be saved, well, I can't speak in a tongue at all. So I guess I'm going to hell. That's not my gift. There's no evidence of you being able to rondo shando, he touched my bow tie. If I can't do that, no, I'm sorry, you're not saved. You're not saved. Mind you, this isn't like some cookie cutter cereal box type stuff. People believe this, man. And it's sad because it means it's all about what I do for God as opposed to realizing what he's done for me. That's the lie. All these people. Last week we talked about the whole baptism piece. You gotta be baptized to be saved. No. No. Not at all. Baptism doesn't confirm your salvation. It reveals your salvation. At best. So, you don't prove that you're a Christian by not cussing. You don't prove that you're a Christian by not looking at porn. You don't prove that you're a Christian by being patient. No. The burden of proof is on the Lord. You just got to rest in him. You just got to let him do the work. John 15, he says, abide in me and I'll abide in you, and I will produce the fruit through you. I'm the vine, you're the branch. if you're not connected to me, you can do nothing. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, a few semesters ago, we taught a series based upon John 15 entitled, I Suck. But you can't do anything without him. That is why God is so merciful. That is why Paul can say in Ephesians 2:4, because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive in Christ. I love it, man. Because all of the ownership is placed on God. So some of us in here who are so big on doing things, so now the question is, okay, God does all this, so where do I come in? What am I supposed to do? Wow. One, that's my first response. Two, where you come in is you just now become the fruit. You are the fruit. You become the fruit. You become love. You become patient. You become kind. You become self-control. You become this. You become the fruit. You are the trophy for God. That is the amazing thing about grace. That is the amazing thing about truth. Paul says it like this in Ephesians 2:8. For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which he prepared in advance for us to do. You become the fruit. You become the example for people to see on campus. You become the salt of the earth. You become the light of the world. You become the example that people need to see in your dorms. You become the fruit that your family members need to see. People who have never heard of God. People who aren't saved. People who may have a hard heart towards God. You become the fruit and the epitome of what grace looks like. You become that. That's what the church was. And so now what happens is, when people saw these people coming together and establishing truth, when they saw the people coming together enjoying fellowship, that was the second point that we talked about last week, how they were selling each other, selling money or selling goods to get money to pay for people's needs, to take care of people's needs. When they saw people giving to each other to make sure that everybody had what they needed, when they saw grace transforming people and grace demonstrated to people, now what happens is, which is the third point for the night, they experience increase. Why? Because now the outside world begins to see, wow, what's wrong with these people? They love people in spite of who they are. They're patient with people in spite of who they are. They give to people even though they haven't given a lick. They haven't given a dime. And now when this happens, the true community, the church, experiences increase. Matter of fact, it brings me to what happened last week. I think we had like 3 or 4 people who came down and was like, yo, we just want to be connected to community. You know what that's a sign of? It's a sign of God. That wasn't because of me preaching. That wasn't because of anybody singing. That wasn't because of an announcement. That was because of the work of God. That was him doing the work. We just become the vessel. We just become the tool, the instrument that's a part of the work. That's what you're supposed to do. How is a hammer going to nail something itself? When last time you seen that happen? Never. If you've seen a hammer nailing a nail in the wall, you need to get checked out. Something's going wrong. Like, did you not eat today or something? Like, you're fasting and just seeing things, mirages, images. And so if I'm the tool, this is why the Bible says in Jeremiah and in Isaiah that God is the potter, we are the clay. He uses us for his purpose. And what is his purpose? To see men, women, young people, college students, young adults, children, bisexuals, homosexuals, heterosexuals, pedophiles, lawbreakers, everybody who does not know him, come into a relationship with him. That is the goal. That's the purpose. That's the awesome thing about the family of God. I talked about last week, a few weeks ago rather. You ain't got to pay dues to be in his family. No. You don't have to do anything to be in his family. I think it was, I can't remember what movie it was. I don't know if it was Soul Food or whatever. But it was interesting because it was a scene in the movie where this particular person, like, they just did the worst thing known to man. And they were just off the chain. They weren't connected to the family at all. But at the end of the movie, the family just embraced them. Like, yo, your family, you're part of us. But it wasn't based upon what the person did or did not do. It was based upon the love of the family. So as you are part of the family of God, it is not based upon your love for him. It is not based upon what you do or don't do for him. It is based upon God's love for you. That is what it's about. And now, when your classmates, when your roommates, when your family, when your boo, when your best friend friend can see this. When cats at the gym can see this. When people that you're playing Madden with can see this. When people that are in Web Center can see this. This is when they want what you have. Because you have been a vessel that reflects back to them the love of Christ. When people see this, they want it. So maybe the issue necessarily isn't always the people who are far from God. Maybe is it totally their fault that they're not coming to know God. Maybe we're getting in the way. Maybe instead of being a mirror that points back to Christ, maybe we're being a brick wall that doesn't reflect anything. That just absorbs light but never reflects it back. Maybe we're that. But true community is far from that. It is the opposite of that. True community that's established in truth and enjoys fellowship reflects the radiance of Christ, the love of Christ. So when people see you guys, man, they shouldn't see 5 miles of bad road where you just moping around, looking like you just got shot in a big toe. No. People just shouldn't be like when people see you, they should see the love of Christ. They should see something that's different. If they just see a Stone Cold Steve Austin type face, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. No, who's going to flock to that? Who's going to flock to that? If people don't see the love of Christ and the joy of the Lord in you, that's supposed to be there, that you claim is there, then how are people going to come to see Him? How are people going to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord if they can't get past your stank face? How? You know what's so interesting? This is how we do. This is how we do. Right? Matter of fact, I won't talk about you. I'll talk about somebody else. But I was talking to one of our other ministers on staff at our church, and we had to recently make a lot of calls to people and stuff like that. And I pray that this person may not be. I hope this person's not in here. If they are, well, I guess you're just getting convicted tonight. But we were calling different people, and he called a person. It's probably not you in here because they were an older person. They were like in their 40s, I think. And he was so thank God. So they're talking to this particular person, and but the person answered the phone. This is how he said. This is what he said. They said, "Hello, hello." Right? You can like see the person's face through the phone. Hello, right? And he says, "Hey, this is Reverend such and such from Abyssinia." "Oh, hey, Reverend such and such. How you doing?" That's how we do. When we find out who we're talking to, it dictates how we respond. So, like what I've seen, I don't know about you guys, but I know one of the things that I've seen, not only on campus, but even just seeing just in general, like when you're in line with somebody, or you're at a store or something like that, and like there's somebody at the, say somebody at the register, right? Somebody at the register, they're moving super duper slow. They're like a teenager. They don't know what they're doing. They just got a job. They're trying to find a job for the summer. They're just trying to make ends meet, trying to get some prom money and all that type of stuff. So they're at the register, but they're taking forever. They have no clue what they're doing. And you're getting frustrated. You're like, come on, man. Like, dude, you're in high school. You're a freshman in college. But we're not going to talk about you. Okay, so, like, you're getting upset with them. They're taking forever. But then you see, like, they got this big old Jesus sticker. And you're like, oh, hey, you're a Christian? Oh, man. What church do you go to? Oh, what did you read today? You try to be nice to them and kind to them. That's not authentic love. That's fake and counterfeit. Y'all laughing because you have either seen this happen or have done this. It's okay, we confessing, it's cool. Nothing wrong. But that's not what true community looks like. True community embraces people from all walks of life. Doesn't mean I accept what you do. I embrace you in spite of who you are. Jesus never condoned the behavior that you and I had. Like there is this belief that oh, Jesus, He is for everybody, like Truth says. He doesn't care about your, oh, He's cool with your sin. Oh, no, He's cool with it. He's full of grace and truth. Do not get it twisted. He's not cool with your sin. No. He's not cool with you being laid up with them. No. He's not cool with you cussing them out. No. He's not cool with you being saved one day and then not being saved the next day. Or acting Christian one day and not acting Christian. No, He's not cool with that. He doesn't like that. That's hypocritical. He's not down with that. But He loves, which means he looks past that to get to the person, so that he can take the person and transform him or her to look like himself. That's what it's about. So in true community, what this looks like for you and I is, okay, I don't say ugh to the person who's gay. Ugh, stay away from me. You got gay. No. That's the wrong mentality. Some of us, we ain't gonna put it out there, but like some of us may have the mentality, oh, you're gay, you're cool, just don't come around me. Wrong. How are they gonna come to know the Lord if they're not around you? So what happened? This is what happened, right? Right. So this is what you do. This is what person X does. I'm not gonna say you. This is what person X does. Okay, I understand that I'm saved by grace. Being gay is not the lifestyle that the Lord would have you to live. That's not a pure and holy lifestyle. Okay, that's cool. So now what happens is I found out that this person may be part of OD out. I found out that this person may be gay. You cool? Just don't come around me. So we isolate them, and then this is what happens. We get in our Christian circles. Yo, man, I had this gay dude come up to me, man. Oh, man, it was just, it's gross. We talk about it. Man, there's so many gay people on ODU. And you go in on blazing, just lash them. But you see the separation. You're over here, they're over here. Jesus called you to be a bridge. So, of course, they'll never get over here, because as long as you're over here, there's nothing but sin in between y'all. And you can't see past the person's sin to see the person and to see the fact that they have believed a lie. Yes, that's not the lifestyle God wants them to live, but they will not come out of that lifestyle based upon you preaching truth to them, saying, yo, you're gay, you're going to hell. Not at all. The only way you're going to reel this person in is by extending grace to them. Like, hey, well, you love who you are. Yeah, we're different, most definitely. But I'm not going to ostracize you because you're gay. I don't condone your behavior, I don't agree with it. No. And we clear on that, we know that. But I still love you. Imagine if Jesus would have had the mentality of, in heaven, right? Y'all sinners, man, y'all suck, I'm not coming down here. I'm not doing that. Oh man, some of y'all gay. Seriously, imagine if he has this mentality in heaven. He does not come from heaven if it's based upon who we are. He comes from a place that we can never get to take us back to a place that we can never get to on our own. All day long. That's what he's called you and I to do. That's what true community is all about. It's loving people, man. Loving God, loving people. I'm compelled by the love of Christ. That's what Paul says. It is his love that transforms you and I. All day long. All day long. I had a roommate. I like talking about my past college days. It's cool. Especially because I think it connects with kind of some of us are right now. I had a roommate my sophomore year. I will leave out his name, just in case he happens to see the video. But he had, I love my brother, he's cool. I had to say that too. But dude was the nastiest dude I've ever been around. The dirtiest dude I've ever been around. He had a lot of hair on his body. Right. Because he had a lot of hair on his body. Hair just made its way everywhere in the apartment. Mind you, I'm still in Powhatan. That's my sophomore year. Powhatan, hairdo, doesn't connect. There's hair on the floor, that's carpet. Ugh. There's hair on tile floor like this in the kitchen. Ugh, super ugh. There's hair in the bathroom. Okay, that's beyond ugh. That's just foul. And when you leave hair around and you don't clean it up, it begins to cause a discoloration in things. So the tub that was once white as snow is now mellow yellow. Now I don't want to take a shower. So now because of your filth, you make me want to stay filthy. God was like, yo, you gotta love him, man. You gotta love him. You would walk around the crib with some boxes of briefs on, that's it. Nasty. Oh, I love him, he's mad cool, man. He's a new creature now. He actually leaves. And I believe it happened on this particular night here. One particular night, dude just came in late, drunk. And it was interesting because he came in the room, came in our room because it's college day, so you don't really have your own room. But he came in the room, his bed is on this side, my bed is on this side close to the window because I wanted to make sure I had to breathe so that way I could get fresh air. Y'all pray for me, man. I'm going to send it to the same by grace. But don't look at me like that, and that's on course. But I would stay there, and he was over here. And one particular night, he just came and he was just drunk. Oh man, you could smell it. You just smell it, man. And he came in, yo, Ed, yo, man, I love you, dude. I was about to say his name. I was like, bro, you drunk? Yeah, man. Oh man, I just been having it bad lately, man. The girl broke up with me, and he worshipped his girl. She pretty much ripped his heart out after giving his heart to her. And he's just distraught. He's like, yo, man, he's sitting at his desk. He has no shirt on. You know, he's in boxers, briefs again. And, you know, he has some weight, so he's just chilling, you know. And I promise you, in that moment, man, God grew me to another place. In so many ways, I'm telling you this because I want you to know firsthand that God works on every person. And even though you may feel like you reached a certain place in the Lord, He will still continue to chisel out grace and truth in you. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, dude, oh my gosh. I'm like boiling on the inside, like, dude, you have no shirt on, you have drawers on, you're sitting in front of the computer, you got hair everywhere, man, you smell like Jack Daniels, whatever you're drinking, oh my gosh, and you're just talking about, dude, I love you, that's the drunkenness talking, dude, it's not you. And then, out of nowhere, he just begins to pour out his heart, and starts bawling, and starts crying. And then, it was like, it clicked. One, God, my bad. I realized why you placed me in this room with this dude for the past 6 months. It was for this moment right here. My fault, I missed it. Help me to love him the way you love me and the way you want to love him and want him to see that. So chopped it up, talked. And at the end of the conversation, dude had a new outlook. Rest of the semester, I don't even remember dude coming in drunk. Matter of fact, it was interesting because now that I think about it, there were 2 more instances where he was walking around barely butt naked. It was like this new person was created. But that didn't happen because I went banging a Bible over his head. Yo, repent. The kingdom of God is near. Yo, you're drunk. You're going to go to hell if you don't repent. No, it's not that. Oh, he was a Catholic. Let me help you understand that too. So he already had a mentality of, hey, I'm jacked anyway, but I'm still going to heaven. It was just straight love. Yo, dude, man, you know how to do this. God has so much greater for you. So much greater for you. What do I got to do? There's nothing you can do, man. Just rest in Him. And for the rest of the semester, I saw progressive transformation take place. I don't know where he is right now. I have no clue. I've seen him on Facebook like a few years ago, but I don't know. I think he's married, something like that. I don't really know where he is in faith. I don't know if he's grown. I don't know if he's backslid. I don't really know. But I know on that particular night, because grace was extended, he responded to it the same way that you and I probably have responded when God extended the ultimate grace to us. And I was responding in such a way where I recognize I need the Lord. And I want the same joy that you have. I want the joy on a Saturday night where I don't have to go get drunk to have a good time. I want the same joy to know that I don't have to be in bed with somebody to feel whole. I want the same joy to know that I don't have to be in a relationship with somebody in order for me to have significance and value in my own eyes. I want that joy. And that all came because grace and truth presented. That is what true community is all
That is why he's called you out of the darkness into the light. That's why he saved you. So you can be an instrument. So when people see you guys on campus, you're connected with one another. You're eating lunch together. You're chilling. You're staying up all late. Chilling, not going to bed till 6 in the morning, even though you got a 10 o'clock class. You're up on the weekends. You're chilling. You're having fun. You're balling. You're going out to the movies, watching TV. That attracts people. Because there's nothing but grace and truth there. There's nothing but love there. There's no condemnation. There's no judging. There's a standard, but there's no judging. That's real community. And that's what God has called Focus to. That is what God has called the church at large to. But in particular, that is what God has called you to. That's what it's all about. That's what he wants you to grab, more so than anything else. That you would understand that it's all about the Lord working through you. That you are a tool, that he's using some of you guys to plant seeds. He's using some of you guys to water the seed. As Paul said in 1 Corinthians 3. I planted, the next person watered, but it was God who wanted to increase. You won't be able to take the credit for the person getting saved and you know, no, God used you as an instrument, whether it was the plant or water, but he was the one who ultimately brought the true increase because you let your light shine, as what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. You understood that truth. That is what true community is all about. That is true biblical community on the college campus. That you would rest in that. It's not popular. Not at all. What's popular is do this, do that, do this, do this. That's what's popular. What's not popular is like, yo, just come chill, man. There's no cover charge. We don't care what you wear, man. Just come through. You'll get good opinion about what you should wear and what you shouldn't wear later on. But we won't be the ones convicted. It'll be the Spirit. You won't see why you're getting convicted. You won't say it. You won't understand. Why am I feeling like I need to dress better? What? Am I underdressed in here? But you ain't say a word. But what happens is they see the environment and they're like, hold on. It's different. Something should be taking place on the inside. That's what the real community is about. That's what God has called us to on the campus. To let your light shine, which means as well that you cannot shine your light in already lit places. Letting your light shine does not qualify. Just count here in TNT. There's a whole lot of light in here. A whole lot. Your light. The person beside you is light. The person behind you is light. I'm not talking about skin complexion. I'm talking about their lights as a vessel, as a tool. Their salt. Yes, it's great. Yeah, let your light shine again. That's awesome. Definitely please do so. But more importantly, let your light shine at home. Let your light shine with your friends. Let your light shine with your family. Your prayer should be, God, I want to see those who are far from you come to know you. Your prayer should be, Lord, this professor, I pray that they be in fellowship if they're not already. Your prayer for the person sitting next to you. See, this opens up your eyes at a whole new level. Like, don't go to class tomorrow and just look at these people around you just as bystanders. Just as a person who comes in here late every day and goes to sleep. If you look at them like that, you look at them no different than the person sitting next to them looks at them. You're no different than the other person. No, look at this person as somebody who God wants to see in fellowship with them if they're not already. Because now when you begin to have that eternal perspective, that true godly perspective, you look at them differently, you respond to them differently. So now this causes you and compels you, hey, yo, what you doing Tuesday nights? I don't know. No, come to TNT. And the crazy thing is, you may not see that that's a big deal. What you don't see is what they be doing on Tuesday nights. Recklessness. But by you seeing them the way God wants you to see them, and by you being led by His Spirit, and you have tapped down into a Spirit and are being obedient to a Spirit, now you reach out to somebody in a way that they've never been reached out to ever before. And you provide the opportunity and the avenue for them to get connected. all day long. That's what it's about, man.
I believe when this happens, I really believe this campus will be transformed. You can no longer look at yourself just as a college student who just goes to class, gets a degree, and that's it. No, your life has so much more meaning than that. You cannot just look at yourself as just as a person who lives in this particular building on campus, or lives on this particular street on campus, or this particular area in the city, or this particular area in the area. No, you cannot look at yourself any longer. It is time for you to look at yourself from God's eternal perspective. You have been chosen by God to do a great work. And as Nehemiah said, you cannot come off the wall